Okay. Hello, everybody. First thing first, if you can confirm typing on the chat, by typing on the chat, if you can hear me and see me. Awesome. Okay, so welcome on the Improve Your Cybersecurity Skills presentation. And yeah, first let introduce myself. I'm Kamil Gierk-Pacanek, and I'm having a 12-year experience of software development, and I'm currently working at the Netcompany that is organizing this event. And to be honest, I wondered how to start this presentation, and because I'm a software developer and I'm talking about cybersecurity, maybe you could wonder why I'm doing that. And I want to share with you that I'm developing, publishing the posts on my blog that I'm creator of, Cyber Ethical Me. And also I published a small article in one of the paper magazine in Poland. And yeah, and I just wondered if I should even mention those things. But I know that people in our industry and in other industries, um, they like experiencing something that's called imposter syndrome. And if you don't know the word and if you don't know the phrase, it's like the feeling that you have when you know something, but you feel that everybody knows better than you, or maybe you're not feel so competent to share your knowledge with other people. And I have a graphic here that maybe visually explains that. So this is like we are sometimes feeling like we don't know what we are doing and we don't feel like sharing knowledge with other people. So one way to overcome that is to be aware of what you did and what you achieved so far. So yeah, that's my way of of dealing with that. So I'm sharing with you that I did all that kind of stuff, and I feel comfortable talking to you with that. So yeah, now we have that out of the way. Let's talk a bit about Netcompany. I'm not going to read those things that you are having here, but first of all, I want to thank you, Netcompany, for having me here today. Because, as I said, I'm actually very happy to share my knowledge with you and show you some skills that I've was able to develop over the years. Um, so my thing is, I'm thinking that Netcompany is doing a fantastic job by giving us the chance to speak publicly about something we are interested in or passionate about. And if you don't appreciate that thing right now, I feel I can guarantee you that after some time you would like to work with people that are in the same mindset. So it's really important to being appreciated and being able to share something to others. Um, so first question that I have for you: which systems are you familiarized with? Like you are using Windows, Linux, macOS? Because, for example, when I see that a lot of people are using Windows, I may be showing a less things in console. It's all like, for example, I'm born, maybe not born, but I started using Windows just I think like everybody else. And after a while, I started to feeling more comfortable with Linux and command prompts and so on. Yeah, I can see on chat that mostly people are using Windows. And yeah, macOS is something that I'm not familiarized with. And yeah, okay. So First topic, what does even cybersecurity mean? Of course, if you can, I forget to talk about it, but during the talk, you can ask the questions and I will try to answer them, do my best to answer them. If not, I will try maybe to answer them after the talk. But yeah, so I've tried to define what cybersecurity means, and I found out that when I prepared the presentation, I stumbled upon some funny thing on 9gag, and maybe cybersecurity means that you are that warrior that's defending the honor of your network and your devices that you are protecting of. I'm not one to judge. Maybe you are, maybe you're not. But some definitions I found on the Kaspersky and Cisco sites, for example, they stating that it's cybersecurity. It's something like defending the computer servers, devices from malicious attacks or from digital attacks. But this definition is missing something for me, and this is something that is well worded, at least for me, by Gartner. They saying about deploying people also. So we can have policies, we can have processes and systems and software and etc. and that are configured, that we are almost sure that everything is done what we could done, but still there is left one small chain that is the weakest chain in the link, and these are people. Because when you are like listening the news and read the news, you've heard that some company got breached because someone got email that clicked and got some malware downloaded, and and things got astray from that. So this is important to educate people about cybersecurity. It's not only the software developers that have to be aware, not only the network specialists and other IT people, but also other people's, like working on the other departments, or maybe even your mom or your dad or somebody else just using the computer. They have to be educated. I don't know how it is in your country. In our country, we don't have such things in schools, just like other lacks from my point of view, but we won't be talking about that right now. But we should be educated in cybersecurity. We should be interested in that because there is more and more devices and internet around us, and yeah, and we are more prone to those attacks. And even the simplest ones or the more complicated ones, I'm not going to dive right now into that, but that's what I'm trying to do. That's why I'm creating that blog. Now, that's why I'm talking open about that we have to learn cybersecurity. And my way of doing that is doing some ethical hacking activities. And from that, let's yeah, let's I'm going to read something that has to be read before we start with the technical thing in the presentation. And so the tools, tests, and procedures I'm showcasing may only be executed on your own system, lab environment, or a system that you are charged with protecting. If ownership or responsibility lie with another party, be sure to get clear written instructions with explicit permissions to conduct ethical hacking activities. Do not investigate individuals, website servers, or conduct any illegal activities or any system that you do not have permissions to analyze. And if you wish to try to operations depicted in the following materials, please make sure that you understand what you are doing and take your own evaluation before executing any instructions. Um, this is only thing that I will be reading during that presentation. This must be done. I'm doing that at least before any public material. So So yeah, funny story. I've told about ethical hacking. I use the term. Um, so imagine that I'm sitting at the Christmas table with my family, and we're just casually talking about stuff. Um, w- and at one moment, the talk at the table like moved to me, and some person said, hey, I've seen you if you are sharing that stuff and you are doing something. Can you tell more about it? And I'm saying, yeah, I'm doing ethical hacking, and I started explaining, but my one cousin said, wait, you said what? Ethical what? Hacking? Wait, how hacking can be ethical? And yeah, I've heard that before. I've read people talking about it, but at that moment something clicked in my mind, and I really experienced that hacking is still perceived as a malicious thing, because media paints that picture that there are some hackers trying to steal your data, hackers doing that, hacking like breached into Uber and steal some stuff. I used to do some comparison that ethical hacking and hacking tools are just like knives. You can use knives to cut an onion, or I don't know, to spread butter on your bread, and you can use the onion to hurt somebody, right? So this is exactly like what hacking is. It's like maybe not, it's not a knife, but um, you can use that to do penetration tests on your application. You can use that to test security of your home network. You can use that to learn something, learn deeper about stuff that you are doing or maybe you are interested in. Um, so don't I want to educate, or maybe evangelize even, that don't afraid to be using, don't afraid to use word hacking, because as I said, it's pretty neutral word, but media painted it as like malicious one, and we should not do hacking because it's bad. Yeah. First thing that I want to talk about is SQL injection. So maybe you can help me out and tell me, what do you think? What are possible consequences of SQL injection attack? Or maybe you don't know what is SQL injection attack. I can explain that. If you can try type into the chat, and we can maybe, yeah, I'm seeing data loss, of course. Um, Michał said data breach or manipulation of data. That's also true. We've seen a lot of data breaches. And actually, there is some listing. I don't know if you're familiar, if you know about that. It's called OWASP Top 10. It's a list of, let's say, common vulnerabilities in the web applications. And SQL injection falls into the third category from the top 10. So when you analyze what OWASP done during the years, you can say that that category jumped few places during the last 4 years. So I can see that Maciej is also sharing with us some table drop SQL injection. Yes, that's something that we can always expect people trying to do. And yeah, but yeah, that's true. And I wanted to ask that question because sometimes we just hearing some phrases on the news, and we are just, oh yeah, SQL injection, right? Let's not do that. Maybe you are just developing application, and you're just creating something that points to the database, reaches for the data, and you think, okay, maybe it's let's just do the framework, do that work for me. And mm, I feel like we don't fully understand, or maybe we like, I'm talking from my point of view, right before I started to be more interested in that stuff. Like, I just think like it's something that would not happen to me, you know It's like that black swan that should never happen, but it's sometimes happening. So maybe let's see on some application that I've prepared, and that SQL injection example is actually maybe example from the real application that I stumbled upon a couple of years ago in other work when we're trying to develop something, and so we have that page that should be accessed only by administrators, so what should wrong will happen with that because that page is only used by administrators, so administrators want to try something wrong on customer provided the credentials to the administrator accounts, so that's their fault, right? No, it's not their fault, it's our fault because we allowed that to happen. It's something like maybe popular topic these days. If you read Harry Potter, there is a scene when maybe that would be a spoilers, but there is a scene when Hippogriff attacked one of the students from the Hogwarts, and there was no explanation that but that the Hagrid that bring that Hippogriff there is like. But I said them not to do that. They could be enraged and they could hurt you. They didn't listen. Just it happened because Hagrid, because we allowed to do that. So yeah, so I showed briefly, I believe, that presentation. No, I didn't. So let's assume this is the page that is only accessible to the administrator, and we have let's say listing of the some shopping items that can be bought on some of the sites. So yeah, so we're having a table that what we see on this page. We can see some text box, see some button, and some table. And this page was meant to be, customer wanted, okay, but thank you for that. I want to like be more specific with my filters. I don't want to have those drop downs and maybe some predefined filters. Let's do something like, I know SQL. Let's do something like that. So just let me order things, but for like by the way that I want to, and show me the data. Maybe I want to see the products from the cheapest to the most expensive one, or maybe I want to just search items that have specific word in it, right? So okay, but it's I feel like it should like light a warning bulb, or like you should be like denying such things, like why would you like to do that? That could be possible, that could make a possible SQL injection entry point. Yeah, and so what the developer did is because we wanted to, let's say I'll be telling we wanted because I was part of that project and that way before I analyze that. So let's say we wanted to prevent users from using the SQL injection, like we want to patch that. So what we can do with that? Client wanted it to see it like that. So we can do blacklisting. So for example, I cannot use words like maybe not a union, but words like what you've said there, drop table users. Yeah, let's say drop. Can I drop something? No, it says invalid query. So we did some blacklisting. We have some list of words that query should not contain, and it's like drop, create, alter table to not encourage such behaviors. But one thing that couldn't like somebody maybe forget about it, but there is one word that is not blacklisted, and it's union that I've previously typed. What union is doing is trying to append that to the SQL query that is being executed, append another rows of data. So for example, I can union there's a trick that you can do. You can, because let's say, okay, let's say union from devices, no? So because I'm just blindly shooting there because we are searching for devices. Maybe there is a table called devices. You know, I'm getting server error. Okay, so let's hop into the developer tools. Maybe I will dock it on the right. Okay. So we can try to see once again if something is returned. Okay, you can see reason server error, and that's why, because internally union can be used only with the same amount of columns. So I can see there are like 2 columns returned, but maybe let's see how many columns is returned. It's 4 columns returned. So I can do something like union even nulls, 4 nulls. And from devices, because I know this is the table that is here, and I'm still getting server error because I'm missing select. That's silly me. From select from devices, maybe from device. Okay. Okay. So this is not happening right now. Okay. But there is one way to overcome that. And let me show you the SQL query window here. Because we have blacklisted some of the commands, there is one command that is not blacklisted, and it's convert. So for example, I can execute the command using. I'm not going to deep dive into how that works, because that could be like another presentation about that, because I want to show you what are the possible consequences of SQL injection. So I know I can execute a command using SQL injection that way, and this is the example command. I can maybe just cut it to maybe less better visible. So I'm going to declare a variable, and I'm going to execute the command that is in that variable, but I'm going to encode that command with the SQL convert. So for example, I don't know right now what tables are there, so I can create following command. I can create my own table that's called SQL injection, that have some primary key and have some text that I want to extract after that. And when I execute that, I'm getting encoded commands that I can paste here, and I can straight paste it into that window. As you can see, the query executed, so I didn't get any error message. So I'm hoping the query got executed on the backend. So now what I'm trying to do is I'm trying to get to know what are other columns, databases, and tables on that server. So I'm going to select all the columns, table names, and databases from that server, and I'm just going to do the same stuff. So I'm going to encode that command and execute that on the server. Still, query executed, and what I'm hoping right now is that I'm having in the SQL injection table, I'm having a list of all tables, columns, and etc. So I can do more with that. And now I can do that union select that I tried to do before. And as you can see, after the returned elements from before, I'm having also listing of the, as you can see, tables and databases and columns. And from now on, I can, as one of the people said, I can exfiltrate the sensitive data. I can use that union command once again, and I can select, for example, last name, address, and telephone number from customers. And as you can see, I didn't have that before. I cannot know that there's a table customers before. And as you can see, I'm having that. And in the query window, in the network, I see more information. I can see the address, names, and stuff. So this is one potential maybe vulnerability or the consequences of the SQL injection, that you can someone can exfiltrate the data that you maybe don't want to have them knowledge of that. So, but this is one thing that's I'm working only on the database, right? So you can say, okay, but maybe I don't have some sensitive data on my database. I don't have list of customers. I only have list of devices, But we can dig further with that, and because there is another command that can be executed on the SQL that allows me to remote code execution. So now, right now, what I'm trying to do is I want to achieve executing code on the server itself. So I can access, for example, some command shells, some command commands, and this is one of the commands that I'm going to use, and it's called XP command shell. And as you can see, or maybe you not, because it's too small, and I can't. I can. Oh, okay. Okay, it's returning name of the user that currently executing that command. But before I can do that, there are some two methods, two calls I had to append to that query to be able to execute command shells. And after that, I can once again, maybe let's assume, but let's say that I just want to read some file from the disk, from the hard drive. And in this example, I'm choosing the file that is on every Windows system, and it's hosts. So once again, I'm going to convert that, and I'm going to use that command that I've used before to execute that command. And after that, I can use once again select from that table that I've created before. Sorry, not here, here. And as you can see, I've read the file from the server. And this is the other thing that is totally like possible to be happen, that some people could have not only exfiltrate data from your database, but also from your system. Yeah. And I can say that it's good thing to say, because what I'm going to say, yeah, it's a good thing to say that current frameworks are mostly they're working like it is really hard, or maybe it's challenging to write something that is vulnerable to SQL injection, because today's framework are operating on some models, on some mappings, and back then when that vulnerability, when that application that I was developing and testing was created, it was easier to make such things. And also, this code of that application, the source code that I'm having here, it will be available after the talk. I will share that on my GitHub account, so you can dig deeper into that. As you can see, there is some banned words that I've presented you that I cannot create, alter, and drop things. And yeah, and we'll be using that application after, I mean, in a minute. Maybe just not close it. So yeah, and let me see if there were any questions. No. Okay. So another thing, I've talked about sensitive data, and maybe um, you can share with others what we can mean by sensitive data, what that term means, what types of sensitive data you know. There are personal data, that's right. There are, let's say that's a group that's something GDPR sensitive, or when you live in other countries, on other region of the world, there are some other regulations that prevent you, or maybe not prevent you, but limits you how to store and show the data that are that can be used to identify the person. Financial conditions of other company, yeah, that's also sensitive data. But also sensitive data can be something that we as a programmers sometimes using. So some passwords. Oh, exactly, Anna, good job. Passwords, personal data, yeah, IDs, contracts. So what I wanted to talk further are the API keys, passphrases, some thumbprints, passwords. And as you can see, there are also other things that you have mentioned, like GDPR relevant data on some intellectual property. CD Projekt and other game companies got leaked their source codes of their games. So these are intellectual property. And how we can store, let's focus on that API keys, secrets, and stuff. How we can store those there. It's not a good idea to hard code them. It's not a good idea to have them in some text file lying on the file server, because such things happen. Um, Today we have multiple solutions, and they are all like dedicated to different work you do. Like when you're using Microsoft services, Microsoft's technology, you can use Microsoft Azure Key Vault that is mainly used in when you are programming in the Azure, when you're deploying stuff on the Azure. Um, Back then, when you have a SharePoint mostly installed on prem, we can also use the secure store services. Amazon has their own secure provider. They all share the common, let's say, property that they are services that are like created by other companies and shared to us so we can use them. And they're very good to use, at least to say very good. They're mandatory to use in the production environments and hopefully in the test and dev environments. And it's good to use them. It's good to know they are existing and not to not start thinking them like from the scratch and developing something from scratch. It's good to use them when you can. And but as a developer, we are working with the source code. So I want to show you two topics. One tool, it's .NET user secrets. Maybe you're using that, maybe you're not. And some secrets management in Git repository. So when it's called, let's start with the secrets. So I've showed you before a code of the application that I've been testing, and as you can see, I'm using the database context here, and I'm using some config, and from there I'm extracting the connection string. And I did that by doing by .NET user secrets. So let me show you how it works. This is works like in .NET projects, of course. So I should be in the in the in the specific project to work with that. So I'm in the web application, and there is a command called .NET user secrets and list. And what it will show me if any secrets are already associated with the application, with the project itself. And this is a helpful tool. For example, I can add new secret. For example, here I'm setting the secret for the that's called key. This is like let's call it a key, and this is the value. So it's something like that. I'm setting that key using that command. It can also be used in the Visual Studio, but I think it should have some extension installed, but I'm not sure about that. Okay, and now I can list those secrets, and I will be having them. It's not perfectly secure because, as you can see, it's not encoded. It's just a plain string sitting somewhere on your computer. But by doing that, your source code should not have that included anywhere, because you won't, you can't find that in your application. When I go to, for example, when I go to search for the password phrase in the source code, it's not showing me here. Okay, I won't find it. It says it's 0 matching results, and this code does not contain that sensitive data that is a connection string. And actually, you can see where the file is located, and it's in that location called updata Microsoft user secrets. And there are some IDs associated with the web applications, with the projects, Microsoft projects, and each project has its own GUID. I know that my secrets are stored in that one. And yeah, actually, I can maybe do like that. Secrets JSON. So there is a, all right. So as you can see, there is a file that is stored in your on your computer that stores those data, and you can assume that some people with the malicious intent also know where those things could be stored. So as I said, this is not perfectly secure, but it's fine when you're trying to share the code with somebody else. And another thing that I want to show you is what's happened when, for example, you mistakenly checked in the code with the password. So as you can see, I'm currently not having a password anywhere because I've showed you before. But when I moved a bit, and there is a, let's clear that. There is a command that's called git pickaxe, and it's using git log -p to search for some queries, to search for some terms in the Git repository, in the Git history. So for example, I can, okay. I am in the working tree. Okay, I know what's done. It's go git log as, yeah, it's wrong switch. So as you can see, I can search in the previous history of the previous history, in the history of the Git repository that possibly includes some passwords. As you can see, there is one commit called remove connection string from source code. So I can expand that by using -p. That should be before. And as you can see, I can read that from the history. So there's thing what you can do with that. There is some useful tool that I'm going to show you right now. It's called BFG Git. It can rewrite the history, and of course it works only on the specific repository. So you should use that application on the so-called bear repository. So you can use that tool to rewrite the history of the Git. But before that, you should do the copy of the current repository, and now you have a repository without the working tree, so it contains only the Git history, and you can use that tool. It's a Java tool. It's a tool written in Java, so you have to have Java installed, and it's going to replace text that is contained into sensitives.txt on that repository. So that sensitives contains things that I don't want to appear in the Git history. So right now, when I go to that bear repository, and I execute the same command that I did before. So I'm trying to use the git pickaxe to extract the passwords from here. I can say it found it because I'm trying to look for the pass phrase, and it found it, but now it's called removed. It's not visible for me. So the tool worked correctly, and I actually didn't have occasion to use that. didn't have a possibility to use that, but it's good to know that when you want to share the source code with somebody, maybe you can prune that from that sensitive data, or maybe when somebody committed the data that you don't want to share with others. Yeah, there is some obfuscation example that I'm using in my link path, for example. There is another way to keep the data sensitive. Sensitive data safe. So I'm using here some certificates that I have in my certificate store to encrypt the password. And the password is not stored in the plain text in my application. It's just some scrambled string. And I think it's it's not mandatory, but it's something that, of course, can be still accessed by the malicious actor who is on my machine, but it's a little bit harder for him to do that. And now, yeah, and as we are going closer to the end of the presentation, I want to share you some, because okay, I'm showing you some stuff and you can um, read about them online or something like that, but when you are really interested about those things, there are really great resources that are available for you to be accessed by free. For example, there is a big fix event organized by the SNCEO team when you can learn. For example, they are doing really great talks about the OWASP top 10 that I've said on the beginning of the presentation. They are doing some talks about OWASP top 10 vulnerabilities, and for example, another thing that you can learn some security stuff is maybe in your company some the IT department are sending security newsletters. In that company, we are having those, and you can learn from them. Also, these are very informative, and it's good to be updated during these times. It's good to know what's happening around you in the industry. So I think those newsletters are a very great thing to be learned from. And this is the link that I will be sharing on the chat. And this is where all the tools that have been mentioned, the address to the source code, and the presentation itself, it's hosted. So I collected those links into that one site, so you can just, uh, analyze them in your own town, in your own time, in your own home. And this also includes the link to the survey, to the feedback survey I've created. So I would be very grateful if you could share some feedback with me, like what I did wrong, what I did good. If you maybe you're interested in some other topics that could be mentioned or elaborated um, more about, feel free to talk about it. Um, I actually I think I can share it here also. Yeah. And also before I end, this is a tech talk from the Netcompany. So we have also a playlist on the YouTube of the previous tech talks. So you can find out this is also included in those links that I've sent you. So I encourage you to check that out. And now I've seen that I think that there was no questions during the presentation. So maybe when you have a spare time, maybe you can ask them now. If not, you know, you know where to find me. So we can talk later maybe. So as I can see, nobody is typing anything. So maybe you have no questions. And I think that concludes the presentation. Thank you for that.